What's up, Catholics? Were you ever curious about love?
Or are you ever curious about the marriage in the past?
If yes, you're in luck. Because in this video, we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about how marriage was like during the Old Testament.
So are you guys ready? Let's get started.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
The Old Testament taught that marriage was intended to be permanent. It is, after all, a holy relationship between a man who was to protect and provide for his wife and a woman who was to remain monogamous to her husband.
Tried to give us a real shot.
You mean when you moved me in here and treated me like I was some kind of hostage?
When the man failed to live up to his side of bargain, either by depriving his wife during marriage or by aggressive abuse in the marriage, the law will support her by allowing divorce.
Are you serious?
Of course I'm serious, Paul. I want a divorce.
Divorce?
Both the innocent woman and the man in those cases, or the guilty party, was allowed to remarry. However, the scriptures had specially strong judgments for a man who divorced solely for the purpose of being with another woman.
Thus, divorce can either be a discipline or a sin back in the book of Old Testament. Guilty wives, however, were not free to remarry.
Their repentance was to put away their other partners and return to their rightful spouse.
Thus, a re-establishment of the broken marriage may be presumed as a proper way to rectify divorce.
It is stated in Leviticus 18 and Deuteronomy 24 that legal marriage does not dissolve the marital union and the relationship established through that marriage.
They believe that behind such legislation is that some kind of relationship occurs between the two couples.
Presenting the process of marriage.
In Israel, the parents are the ones who get to choose who their son is going to marry.
An example is Abraham's choice for his son Isaac, as seen in Genesis 24. Unlike today, where the church prescribes monogamy and condemns having multiple affairs, polygamy was very common among the Israelites back then. Unfortunately, this was not the case for women, as they were confined to just one husband. Baal, one of the Hebrew words for husband, which also meant lord or even master.
That means that husbands were technically dominant, as they also had life or death power if ever they catch their wives committing adultery.
Yup, you heard it right. This means that men were allowed to have multiple affairs and even go out with prostitutes, yet women could be killed if they were caught doing the same thing. Take a look at Solomon. He was rumored to have 700 wives and 300 concubines.
In fact, the earliest form of polygamy can be traced even way back to Genesis 4, where Cain's descendant, Lamech, also known as the first polygamist in the Bible, was described to have two wives, named Ada and Zillah.
Phew! Glad that's over. So much for gender inequality, right?
Welcome.
Good morning.
In order to marry a girl, a man would give her father a gift called mohar, which the Hebrews refer to as something that would seal the engagement between the bride and the husband.
Much like our local tradition here in the Philippines, where men would serve their bride's family before getting approval, mohar was either a material gift or service that the husband must give in order to be granted permission for the bride to be his hand in marriage, and on the occasion that the woman was covered by the skirt of the man's cloak as a sign of his care over her.
This can be traced back to Isaac and Rebekah at Genesis 24 verse 53, where Isaac brought gold and silver jewelry for Rebekah, and even on the story of Jacob's marriage with Leah and Rachel. You see, back then, Jacob really fell in love with Rachel, who happens to have an older sister named Leah. In exchange for her hand, their father named Laban required Jacob 7 years of service.
However, on the night of the wedding, Laban switches Rachel for the older sister Leah, later saying that it is uncustomary for the younger daughter to be given away before the older one has, as described in Genesis 29 verses 16 to 30. Finally, in Genesis 29 verse 27, Laban then offers Rachel's hand in exchange for another 7 years of service.
So, all in all, Jacob served a total of 14 years for Rachel. Now that's what you call dedication.
It must have also seemed uncomfortable for Leah though, since Jacob and Rachel literally got married a week after Leah's wedding with him. Oof, #awkward.
To sum it up, marriage in the Old Testament would begin with a betrothal, which was a signed and witnessed legal document. The public knowledge of the couple's relationship was also an important feature of the actual marriage ceremony. Much like present traditions, guests would also wear distinctive clothing which added dignity to the occasion. After which, the groom and his friends would go in procession to the bride's house and escorted her back home. This was usually accompanied by music, singing, and dancing. Finally, the couple would consummate their marriage and present a blood-stained cloth as proof of the bride's virginity. And that wraps up everything you need to know about marriage in the Old Testament. Was there anything that shocked or even disgusted you? Don't forget to comment them down below, and we'll see you all next time, Catholics.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Marriage, that blessed arrangement, that dream within a dream.